he scrambled aboard. "Come on," the child told him. "I need to put you back." Gently lifting Peter, he crossed the room and placed him on the large silvery web, the biggest one in the room. The child's fingertips tickled gently against the gossamer-thin strands as they bounced against the spider's weight, like a miniature trampoline. The boy was careful not to break the threads. "There you go. Oh, and by the way," he said, pointing to the web, "I caught you some dinner. I hope you're hungry. I put him there for you. Don't worry, he's trapped. He can't escape." The flies shifted and twisted in his webbed prison, his legs and wings sticking against the fine adhesive lines that anchored him down. The boy watched as Peter turned and proceeded towards his prey. The spider climbed on top of the insect, and there was a sudden shift, an urgent movement as he bit into him. He proceeded to wrap him in a silken shroud and sat back, waiting for him to die. Once he had, Peter climbed onto the insect and devoured him, piece by piece. The boy smiled as his friend performed his special eating ritual. "Nice to see you again, Peter," he said, whispering down to the spider. "We've been waiting for you. It's good to have you home." Chapter 1. Scissors. I've never been frightened of spiders. Unlike people, I know they can't hurt me. I had 15 friends in total, but Peter was my favourite. He loved to crawl up my arms and my legs. Sometimes when I was asleep, he'd try and tickle me by crawling up my shirt, but he found it hard to get underneath my jumper because it was always fitted so close to my body. I usually wore it when I got up out of bed, but if I was really cold, I'd wear it when I was asleep. My room was always freezing, even when it was bright outside. Sometimes I'd feel the warmth flooding in through the coal hole above my head. I'd lift up my hand, but I could never reach it properly. I was never quite tall enough. I hoped that one day the sunshine would be strong enough to stretch down and flood my room with light. You see, I knew what the sun was. I'd written about it in sentences. I knew it was a yellow ball of fire in the sky that helped things grow. Up to that point, I'd never felt it against my face. Well, not properly. A few times I'd been lucky. It had shone down through the hole, casting a gridded, golden square against my mattress. Whenever that happened, I put both hands inside the square so that I could feel it. I'd leave them there as the sun soaked against my skin. Then I'd lie down, put my legs up against the wall, and position my face inside the golden shape. It made me feel happy. Made me feel part of something else, something bigger that was happening outside. Outside. That place frightened me, because I'd never been there. The coal hole was my only glimpse of the world, but I didn't mind the dark, not really, because I was used to it. My friends liked it too. Spiders preferred the cold, but they really loved dark hidey holes, and there were lots and lots down here, especially secret ones, buried inside cracks in the mortar. The other spiders were smaller than Peter, so I always thought of him as the leader. There was an Arthur and lots of Georges. There was also an Albert, but I didn't like him very much. He loved to jump out at me. He thought he was clever, thought I couldn't see him, but I always knew he was there, watching and waiting. Albert tried to catch me out. That's why I named him after my father. Spider Albert would crouch deep inside the cracks, ready to pounce whenever I walked by. He'd sit and wait for flies too. Arthur, the Georges and Peter would do the same. Flies were their food, you see. I'd wait with them because I wanted to help. I'd sit perfectly still so I could catch them for my friends. Well, for everyone but Albert. I let him catch his own. I'd wait for a big, buzzy fly to land on something, and then, thud! I'd bring my hand down hard on them. I tried to stun them so they were still alive when I hung them on the different webs. Sometimes I'd get excited and hit them a bit too hard, squashing them flat. Albert didn't like them almost dead. Peter didn't either, but at least he killed them quickly. Albert was just like my father. He liked to chase and climb on top of them as they struggled. He liked to hurt them, but he wanted them